everyone, and happy craft-ernoon. I'm Gina from Gina K Designs, and it's great to see all of you coming in from all around the world. Today we're going to have some fun because we're going to be playing with 3D embossing folders, and I'm going to show you a couple of tips and tricks and a couple of fun techniques that you can do with 3D embossing folders. Some you may have seen before, some may be new to you. You may be having trouble figuring out 3D embossing folders, and hopefully today can take some of the mystery away from these beautiful crafting tools. But before we get started, let's say hello to Tom. Hey, Tom.
Greetings, crafters.
How are you today?
Welcome. I am better than horrible from the dead space.
You rode your bike in today.
It was delightful.
That's a good sign. That's a good sign of spring, right?
Yeah. Just love that ride.
Well, Tom, I know you love the 3D embossing folders, and you always say every time we use them that those are just the coolest tools. So I think today is going to be super fun. And we have a very special surprise to share about the 3D embossing folders.
Oh boy.
You ready?
Let's go.
All right. So we're going to get right into it today because I have a lot to show you. But what I want to show you is that we have 3 brand new 3D embossing folders, and we have a very, very special deal for the viewers of our YouTube channel. So if you're over here watching, or maybe you're part of our Facebook group, that counts too. We have a special bundle of all 3 folders at a really, really great price. So I want to show these to you, and I think you're going to like these because a lot of people have said, yeah, I love the flowers, but I want something a little bit different. Well, we do have some flowers in here, but we do have something a little bit different. Now, when you get your bundle, it's going to come all bagged all together. Now, check this out. The first one I want to show you is a floral design, and it's absolutely spectacular. This one is called Blossom Trio, okay? This one has this beautiful bold blossomy look here with 3 huge dies, and it's got 7 stencils, and I'm going to check that. I've got mine out here. I want to make sure because I counted them last night when I was delirious. Here they are. 1, 2, 3, 4, okay, 5, 6. 6 stencils. So this is one of our bigger stencil sets. I don't know why I thought there were 7, but it was late last night. So 6 stencils. This is one of our big ones. And what I love about these types of embossing folders that have these huge amount of stencils is that you can use them with the embossing folder. You can also use them without the embossing folder for a more modern look without so much detail. And this allows you to separate the different areas of the petals to create lots of depth and dimension, which we'll go over today. So that is the first embossing folder in this set. Now, this embossing folder by itself, when ultimately it goes into our regular inventory, which depending on how quickly these bundles sell out, probably won't be for about 5 or 6 months, but this one will retail, this bundle, for $32.95. Okay, then we have a second one. That's not the price though. Wait till you hear the price of all this. A second one that I know you guys are gonna love. This one is called Delicate Butterflies. And somebody just in our Facebook group today said, I need butterflies, 3D embossing butterflies. So this is the 3D embossing butterfly bundle. And what I love about this one is it can be a background, and people have been saying they wanted some that they could use as a background. So this definitely could be just a simple background design. It comes with 3 layering stencils, and let me show you those. I've got them all broken out here because I'm going to be doing some techniques with all these today. This one has 3, so you can segment out each of the areas of the butterflies. And again, this one would also create a very modern butterfly look if you didn't want all the details in here. So I love this one too. I'm very excited about this, and this is something that we haven't had before. So to add some butterflies into our 3D collection is amazing. Now this one, when it goes into our store, the retail price for this will be $29.95. So Tom, do you have your calculator? I need you to do some math for me, okay? So can you add $32.95 plus $29.95 together?
$32.95 plus
$29.95.
$62.90.
$62.90. Okay. Well, we have this entire bundle for $59.95, but wait, you get an extra 3D embossing folder that retails for $15.95. Now this one is a true background design. It's got that flip it and go kind of style. It's called Floral Burst, and it's absolutely spectacular. This one does not have a stencil with it. It does not have any dies. It's meant to be a true background design, something that you can just quickly emboss, maybe add a little color or glitter to the top of it, and then you can put like a strip going across. You can add an image, you can add a sentiment. So all three of these, I don't know why this one's colored a little bit different than these, but you know, we're okay with that. I think it's because this was a different type of design, and these inserts were all printed with the stencils, and then this one was printed a little bit differently. So it's all supposed to be the same color, but as long as the embossing folders work, who cares, right? So you get all of this. Now remember, these have dies with them too. You get 3 butterfly dies here. You get these 3 huge flower dies. You get 6 layering stencils here, 3 layering stencils here, and this all for $59.95. Yes, the butterflies do have the die set too. So I'm going to show you a bunch of techniques using these, and hopefully we'll get to a card. But if not, I was thinking that maybe I could either make cards after the live and share them in our Facebook group and here on YouTube, or if there are still some bundles left by Tuesday night, I would focus on these again and make some cards and show you some different cards that I made. So you can't find them on the website. Brianne should probably be linking these. So I'm thinking Brianne is going to link them. None of these are sold separately. This is just one big bundle. So we're not going to sell these separately until after this bundle sells out. Then we'll reorder them. It'll take 5 to 6 months for them to get back in. They're not, okay, Brianne just shared it. So let me see if I can pin Brianne's post. If I can't, I will copy her link here and I will pin it to the top of, okay, a lot of people are finding them because I see a lot of people have already gotten them. Let's see. All right. I'm going to find them real quick for you just because I'm spending a lot of time looking for Brianne's post when I could just probably go in and link it myself here just so that I can pin it. All right, there we go. And let's pin it. Boy, the chat's moving so quick, I can't pin it. There we go. Oh, I think I pinned one of them. I may have pinned Brianne's. I'm not sure. But one of them is pinned. Okay. So the first thing I want to show you is some techniques that you can do just with a simple embossing folder. And all of these techniques you can do with any of the folders, even the floral ones. But I want to show you this because I think that this is really cool. Now I'm going to put these away because these are brand new. And today, Tom, I had an idea for the giveaway. So every live, we do a giveaway at the end of the live. And to enter the giveaway, all you have to do is leave a comment. So what we're going to do today, Tom, is we are going to give away this full bundle right here that I have in my hand.
Whoa!
Now, I don't want that to stop you guys from getting the bundle. Go ahead and get the bundle if you want it, because they are limited, and I do kind of have a feeling because it's marked at such a discount and you get so much that they are going to sell out. If we pick your name and you've already purchased it, we're going to go in and just refund your money for this bundle. How's that? So don't be afraid to buy it. You'll get this bundle if you win, and even if you already bought it, we will refund this part of the bundle. And if you used this bundle and you added some other things to your order to get free shipping and a free incentive set, it won't penalize you at all. You'll still get your incentive set, and you'll still get your other things for free shipping. So, all right, so we're going to give that away at the end of today's live. Now, let me grab this embossing folder to show it to you. So this embossing folder, I love the way that this was designed because it was designed perfectly for an A2 card front. Okay, now that doesn't mean you can't use it on a 5x7 card, because a lot of times when we make our 5x7 cards, we'll use an A2 size or something similar, and then we'll layer it up and put it onto a 5x7. So it's definitely big enough to add to a 5x7. Mine has some ink on it because I was doing some techniques last night. So I'm just going to clean it off with a little alcohol here. And there we go. So the first technique I want to show you, and I'm going to be using my Intracut. Now, if you have memory box 3D embossing folders and you have a different die cutting machine, whatever sandwich you use for memory box 3D embossing folders would be the same sandwich that you would use for ours, because we have collaborated with Memory Box, which is an amazing company. They have such high quality embossing folders and dies that we partnered with Dave at Memory Box, and he has helped design these for us, and they are exclusive to only Gina K Designs. So whatever sandwich you would use for Memory Box, you can use for Gina K Designs embossing folders. Now, I use the Intracut, and on the back of the embossing folder, it does have the sandwich for the Intracut, since it's our 3D embossing folders. So what you want to do is you want to have your die cutting machine set to 2D, and then you want to set the tension dial to about 3. Now, that would mean that the rollers in there are farther apart. If you want to get them together, you have to take some space away, so you're going to go to the minus side. I think I'm gonna, because I did this at home with my Intracut that I have at home, and I ended up doing this one at about -2. So I'm gonna start this one at -2. Remember, all of these settings are just a guide, because every 3D embossing folder is going to be a little bit different depending on how detailed it is. And, you know, they're just each a little bit different. They're different than the 2D folders. The 2D folders are they're very flat, so they don't have all the different bumps and lumps. So when you've got big florals and stuff, some of the bumps feel like they're a little bit higher. You need a little bit more pressure to get that bump up there. Now, the other thing that I have found works really well is the thicker your cardstock, sometimes you have a little bit better results, or you have to tighten it up a little bit. So let me see if I have I'm going to do a piece of our heavy base weight ivory for this one, just to show you. And we'll see how this looks. And then I've got 2 different techniques I want to show you with this one. So the first technique I want to show you is just straight away embossing. Now, you only need 1 plate with the Intracut for this 3D embossing, just 1 plate, and it's just the base plate. So, and we'll be starting to ship these bundles out today, just so that you know. All right, so I'm going to pop this right in here, and again, this is actually set up to be a perfect A2 size folder. So you can see how it goes right to the edge of an A2 card front. So if you just wanted to do this on a card front and you didn't want to cut it down, this will be perfect for that. And I'm going to run this through. Now, sometimes I'll run it through and then I'll go backwards again. I'll go back through again, the same direction. Well, the folder's in the same spot. And I'll just go back through again to give it a little bit of extra. You don't have to do that if yours is working well, but look at the beautiful detail you get with this folder. Isn't that gorgeous? And when I see this, I think about things like wedding cards and anniversary cards and springtime cards. That's just a beautiful background design. But what I like about it is it's a little more interesting than just a plain background, right? It's not just a pattern that goes over your entire thing. It gives you that really pretty design, but there's a little bit of what we call white space. I know it's all looks like white space, but there's a little bit of emptiness on the sides here, which just make it look so beautiful. So imagine using our new Master Layouts 21 and putting that lacy border across the center and then on your wedding day. That would be just such a beautiful, simple card. This would also make gorgeous wedding invitations or beautiful thank you cards after the wedding. You think I have weddings on my brain right now with my daughter getting married? I do. Now you can use it this way, right? And you could add a little bit of color on the top by using a sponge dauber. So for those of you that are new to ink blending, most of us are using blending brushes. But when it comes to these 3D folders, sponge daubers will work just a little bit better because you can just add it with a real light hand right to the raised areas. And what's nice about that, with a blending brush, you know, it's going to kind of sink down a little bit around the design. So by using a sponge dauber, you're able to just go over the surface a little bit. So let's just pick a real light color here. How about our lovely lavender? This is such a beautiful color, and it doesn't get enough love from me. And it's a beautiful color. It's been in our collection almost since the beginning. I think it was our second purple that we ever released. So I want to take a look at it on just a little piece of scrap paper. So let me grab a scrap here of something. Because I just want to see how deep the color is. That's not going to be super deep. I think that's going to be good. So I'm going to take this sponge dauber, I've got it inked up here, and then I'm going to lightly go over the flowers. See, I'm just lightly kind of patting and rubbing, but I'm not like sinking it down in there. I'm not putting any squish into it. I'm just going over the raised areas.
Peggy wants to know, can you drag the pad over it too?
Well, you can. The only reason why I tend to use a sponge dauber over a pad is because sometimes I'm a little heavy-handed with the pad and I get it in areas I don't want it. So if you're good with that, and you know, I mean, it is only paper. It's definitely something that you can practice.
The dauber's rounded too, right?
The dauber's rounded, so it's a little bit easier to concentrate just on that, you know, where it kind of comes into a dome. But you can do it if you're good at it. Now, I am going to show you a technique where I'm going to use an ink cube to do something, and we'll see how heavy-handed I am with that. But like I said, it's only paper. You could get some cheap white paper that you have and just practice with the ink pad. The other reason why I like using the dauber a little bit to get this look is because it doesn't create any streaky lines, if that makes sense. This is just kind of it's like puffing ink onto it, if that makes sense. And see, I'm not really getting it anywhere that I don't want it. So the sponge dauber is really effective for that, and that's just super, super soft, right? Just a very pretty soft look. Now, you can also go on the back and use the opposite side of this if you want. So let's take a look at that first. You can see very, very light and delicate. Nice effect for just in the background. But if you wanted to, you could take, this is where you might want to drag, you can take your ink pad. Let me get another piece of cardstock here just so that we get a little contrast. You could take your ink pad, so maybe we'll use this one. This is pretty light. You could take your ink pad and you can just rub ink all over the back to bring out the design. And I'm not putting any pressure on here. I'm just letting the ink drag over. And you can see I can go back and I can darken this up as much as I want. I can keep going over it, but it's staying away from the design on the inside. And if you want to accent any of the images on the inside, you certainly can do that. You could use a finger dauber. You could use a small blending brush to maybe add a little bit of accent in there if you want. Let's see. We'll get a tiny brush here. And we'll add a little bit of this color in here. And if you wanted to pick up a little bit of the details on the inside, I would almost maybe use a darker color for that, just to pick up some of the details on the inside. Like maybe a little bit of plum punch, but you can see in there it did grab into a few of the little lines. But you could kind of do this look too. But this, well, you could see I went really heavy-handed, so it's bleeding through this paper because I put so much ink down. But that is one technique that you can use. Now, let's go to another technique that I think is super fun to do. And that is to create a little bit of wood graining behind your image, okay? So you have to feel on here where the embossing folder is recessed. So it's easy to feel, especially on 3D folders. It's real puffy on one side and it's just all recessed on the other side. So what we're going to do is we're going to take just a tiny little bit of tape, because I would cut this down after I do this. And I would position this into place. This is just a piece of craft cardstock. And I would position this into place with a little bit of pixie tape. Now, I'm gonna make this a little bit thinner. You could use a thinner washi tape. You could use something a little bit thinner, but I'm just gonna do it on the top and the bottom just to hold this in place. Okay, like that. So now it's all in place. We could do a hinge if you wanted to and use a bigger piece of cardstock. Why don't we do that? Let's do a hinge instead. We'll do a hinge. The reason why I didn't start with a hinge is because for some reason I don't have a piece of craft cardstock the right size, but here I have one. Okay, I found one. So we'll measure this embossing folder and we'll cut it to the same size. So this embossing folder measures 4 3/4 of an inch by about 6.5 inches. So we'll cut that 6.5 inches to, I said 4.5 inches. 4.5 inches. This should work. We'll cut that down a little bit more. Let's go 6.25 inches. Yeah, that's going to be good. That'll be good. I know I'm really close up, but I want to show you the closeness I want to show you the detail, but I'll back out a little bit right now. So this way it's not super, super close. So we can make a hinge, and we're going to make that hinge on this side that's puffy, okay? I'm going to do the puffy side. So to make the hinge, we're just going to take this, and we're going to take some pink tape. Where's the pixie tape? Here it is. Because we're going to cut this part off, so no big deal. But we do want it to stay in place so that we can do this several times if we want. So I'm going to just go ahead and tape that down like that. You can see it still doesn't go all the way to the top of the embossing folder, but it's going to hold it in place. All right. So we want to hold it in place. This way it's not going to shift, right? We don't always have to line it up. Now, we're going to do, oh, I did it on the wrong side. This is the puffy side. I said the puffy side, so if you're doing something with your own 3D embossing folders with me, hopefully you did the puffy side. we want to leave the recessed side open. Okay, so there we go. All right, that's going to stay in place. Now we're going to take the open side here. Let's open up the die cutting machine too, so that's ready to go. We're going to take this open side. Come on now I'm in the way. And we're going to take a dark ink. So we can try it with some dark chocolate. And we're actually going to wood grain this right here. Okay? So we're going to take our ink like this down the folder, and then we're going to close it. Okay, now we've closed that. You want to close it right away because you don't want it to start to pool on the plastic. And now we're going to run that through. Yeah, embossing folders, they're so fun, aren't they? Okay, so now we're going to take a look at that. And now we've got that wood-grained look. See, it's not perfectly solid. It's got that kind of streaky lines. You can see the lines going through that. Isn't that pretty? Oh, I love that. I love the way that turned out. So that's a really fun thing that you can do. Now, if you wanted it darker, or let's say you decided you wanted it more solid, because we did the hinge, you can go back and you can add more ink. You know, you can really add as much ink as you want. And you can send it through again. I'm making a mess. And you can get the whole thing a little bit darker. Now it's darker. Yeah, it does look like burlap. You're right. It definitely looks like burlap. So that's a fun technique too. Got ink everywhere. Make sure you have a little bit of alcohol so you can clean up all your stuff. Here, I'll pull that up again so you can see it, but just let me get rid of all of this so we don't have a massive accident.
Danielle wants to know, your patina trick would work on this too.
Oh, it would, yes. So the patina trick, that's a great one. So the patina trick is then to go over that wood graining with some turquoise and add a little bit of turquoise in there to kind of make it look like aged wood or patinaed wood. Isn't patina also kind of copper, Tom?
It is.
Yeah.
Oxidation reduction reaction, I believe.
Oh my gosh. Okay, scientist.
Where that came from.
And then also, I want you to know that these embossing folders, you can just run them underwater and clean them. Nothing will happen to them. You definitely can use water on them, but there is the darker version of that. Okay, so now I want to do something else. I want to take a blue color. I want to make sure this is dry. But the other thing too is if you notice that your cardstock is cracking, and sometimes that can happen, it tends to happen more with the finer the paper is, if that makes sense. So you might see a little bit more cracking with our super smooth white, our pure luxury white cardstock, because the weave is so fine. But if you use a Nina cardstock, which is a lot cheaper, it's not as smooth, it's not as great for like ink blending and stuff like that, but it does do a nice job with just the embossing folder. You could use something like that. Also, humidity has a lot to do with whether or not your cardstock is cracking. So if you're in an area like I am, and thank you to Brianne Loveland because she sent us a little humidifier for our craft room. That was such a sweet, thoughtful gift. She saw me getting shocks and everything sticking to everything else. But a humidifier in your craft space will help a little bit. You can also lightly mist your cardstock with water, or if you're not sensitive to alcohol, you could do a light mist with alcohol in a spray bottle. Now that will work too. I'm a little sensitive, so I don't like to be spraying alcohol all around because it goes into my lungs and it doesn't make me feel good. But if you're not sensitive, you definitely could do something like that. Okay, and that will help add some humidity into the cardstock because, I mean, I don't know if you guys, like, I've been to Arizona. I love Arizona. But when I'm in Arizona, my lips are always chapped. It's just because that dry heat does pull moisture out. So if it's pulling it out of you, it's pulling it out of cardstock too. It's pulling it out of everything. And that's what creates that static and that cracking. Okay, so is this a 3D embossing folder? Yes, this is a 3D. This is part of our bundle special that we have going on right now. So you can get this. This one is actually free with the other two bundles. And it is called Floral Burst, and it's part of the bundle. Okay, so I have a piece of In the Navy cardstock here, and I'm going to pop this into my embossing folder. And now I'm going to send this through. This is my last piece of navy cardstock as well. You probably don't have to have the machine set as tight as I do. If it's struggling to get through, and you will get a little bend on your folders, but if it's struggling to get through, don't push it if you can't get it through. But can you see that design there? Okay, that is so elegant. Now this might not be best to show on screen, and if not, I can do it with a lighter color, but I do want to show this technique to you because it's so pretty. So I showed you the sponge daubers. Now I have a brand new sponge dauber here because I didn't have one laying around for my white. So these are the Gina K sponge daubers. They're great for paints, pastes, stencils, anything. And I just asked Kristen for one in the back room and she gave me one. So I'm just going to use a new one for this. We have two different pigment ink colors. We have white and we have ivory. Now this ivory looks very, very orangey, but it does not come off orangey at all. But it's not stark white. It'll definitely be an ivory color. And this coordinates really nicely with our ivory cardstock when it dries. Okay, so it's just enough of a color difference. You can see our white is very white. You can't see that. You might be able to see it a little bit because it might be shiny there, but you can see the difference between them. But it's not orange like this. It's truly an ivory. It's got such a nice little sheen to it too. So I'm going to take this sponge dauber and I'm going to just go ahead and daub this. To daub, is that a verb, Tom? Since you're over there knowing all the science, do you know the English too?
Yes, transitive verb to daub.
Okay, good. All right, so this is one of those times where this will just bring out the design so beautifully if you have a little bit of pigment ink, a little white pigment ink, or if you prefer the ivory with this, you can definitely do that too. Now you can see I'm going with a light touch, so I'm not getting it onto the background. I'm just dabbing the dauber on top of the designs. And I'm not putting a lot of pressure. But you can see it just brings that whole design out. So pretty. And I'm going to get a little bit in there, like a mist, but it's not going to be like a streak, if you know what I mean. And that's where that question about whether or not you could just drag the ink pad down it, you could, but I would practice that a little bit on maybe some cheaper cardstock and just see how heavy-handed you are. Because remember, these pigment pads, they're spongy. You see how it sinks down in there? How it will sink down? They're very, very inky and very spongy. So when you're working with foam pads, it becomes more difficult to do some of those streaking techniques. You just have to have a really light hand about it. I can try it and we can see how it would work. I feel like we would have more luck using ink cubes for this. So let's try it with a white ink cube, because I did bring the white ink cube out just to see. So again, we're using this almost like it's a dauber. But you see how you get a more streaky look? It's almost a little like the wood grainy look, and it's going to be brighter. Maybe you like that look. I like it. So I feel like I have more control with an ink cube than I do with a pad. However, I am getting it a little bit onto the paper where I don't want it. And that's even holding it as flat as I can. And that's because 3D embossing folders, not all the parts are as high as other parts. So, you know, when you get to parts like this on the folder where it really almost goes down to, think about it like, do you ever go to one of those kiddie pools and they're called like zero depth entry? There's parts of the embossing folder that are almost zero depth because they get thicker as the design progresses. But with this dauber, I have a little bit of a better chance of highlighting that, even that zero depth, than I do going direct onto the paper. So I would definitely try the dauber. Now, I want to show you something else that you can do with this that's really fun. And I bet a lot of you already have this product in your stash, and maybe you don't use it as much as you would like to. I dug through my drawers and I found some samples and I found some actual product. But do you guys remember Perfect Pearls? So Perfect Pearls is like a pearlescent powder. And I think other companies have similar products to Perfect Pearls too. So Perfect Pearls is a product by Ranger, and Ranger makes such good products, but I have some Perfect Pearls here. This is a really nice way to use some of your Perfect Pearls. Now you can use it with a brush. This one is called, my barcode wore off, so I don't have, this is called, what does that say? Jubilee Blue. Question,
Could you put the white on the embossing folder and get a cleaner result?
Maybe. I mean, if you get it anywhere else on the plastic, it's going to transfer. So I prefer, and plus I don't want it to be super white and super, I just want it to accent the area a little bit. But you definitely can try it. You may have luck with that. Now, I have a Perfect Pearls brush here that you can, you know, dip into your Perfect Pearls. And then, you know, you could go all over and it's going to sink down in behind. But you can also just dip it in with your finger just to get a tiny bit. Oh, I feel like Simon Hurley here. And then you can just lightly rub over the flower design itself. And the perfect pearls will stick to the pigment ink. Now, just like glitter and other powdery types of materials, perfect pearls does, it never like dries to a solid. But you can see how I'm able to really, just by using my finger and just gently touching over the tops of this design, how I can just get it where I want it and it's not going onto the back of the card. So this is such a fun way to use the perfect pearls with this embossing folder. And I like it with these background folders because it just gives it a little bit of something, a little pop that maybe, you know, maybe it just needed that little pop of something. And then you can put a very elegant greeting on here and you're pretty much done. But isn't this pretty? And you can see it's got a sheen to it, which is really nice. You can also, when you're done, you could take, let me grab one. You can take a Swiffer duster like we use for our foil, and you can kind of dust over the surface to remove some of the excess. See, that removed some of the excess, and that will kind of soften it a bit and clean it up a little bit so it's not all over the place. But look how pretty that blue looks on that navy. I feel like I'm doing so many things on each of these that I'm not really giving you one finished wow piece, but you know, if I cut this mess off, I'm gonna do that so we have a wow to look at and it's not so distracting. I'm just gonna cut this junk off here that I did. But isn't that so pretty? But you can see when I tried to do it direct on, I got ink all around here. And then of course, you know, if I'm using the perfect pearls, it's going to stick to that pigment ink too. And it's not terrible. It's better than horrible. But, you know, if you want to go for a clean look, I would use a dauber and I would use my finger. And then I would try to just like wipe off anything that you can. This is from the direct ink pad there. But that's pretty, isn't it? I love that. Okay, so there's several different techniques that you can do with any embossing, any 3D embossing folder. And you can also do these with 2D embossing folders too. I just feel like with the 2D embossing folders, you don't get as much drama. The 3D embossing folders have a lot more drama to them because they have all the different highs and lows. All right. So now let's move over to the butterfly one. Do you have to ink first? Yeah, you should ink first because you want to give that perfect pearl something to grab onto. And you don't have to ink with white pigment ink. You could ink with like Versamark ink or our embossing and watermark ink. You could also use the ivory. Let me just do one more little demo for you here. The difference between the ivory and the white, because I think that that would be a nice thing to be able to see. Because if you guys are thinking, well, maybe down the line I'll add some pigment pads. If you have this video to go back and look at when you're ready, you can kind of decide which color is right for you. Because really, when you use it actually in the project, it's not quite as starky ivory as this. It looks softer, but it's beautiful for even stamping snowflakes on navy or red paper. Okay, you don't use ivory? Yeah, some people don't use ivory, but other people do. I'm one of those people that I love ivory, but I tend to use ivory more in the fall. and more with my vintage style cards. And then I use white more with my more modern styles, and in the spring and in the winter when I want that real stark white. So it may feel like it's not the right time for ivory, but sometimes ivory does have its place. All right, so I'm going to show you on one side, we'll just do the dauber again with the white pigment ink. And then on the other side, I have another fresh dauber so that we don't blend the colors together, that we can do with the ivory so you can see the difference. So we're just going to dab this white on here. I feel like ivory is a great color. Also, our new cranberry with the white or the ivory. Oh man, that's a great one. It's nice to use something that's a little bit darker, like fresh asparagus or in the navy, dark chocolate, charcoal brown, any of those colors. They pop a little bit more when you add the white or the ivory on there. So I'm just kind of adding here as I go. I really like the way this looks. It's such a soft look, and you get enough on there that if you wanted to go ahead and add the perfect pearls or any kind of, I'm trying to think of what some of the other names of the products that are like perfect pearls, but I think Ranger was one of the first. And I have so many colors, and I tend not to use them because, you know, we forget all these fun techniques. So even though this may not be a new technique for some of my more experienced repeat offenders that are here watching, or my more experienced crafters, some of you might be thinking, oh my gosh, I have a whole drawer, a whole box of those things somewhere. I want to get them out and I want to play. I want to try this. So that's the white on the ivory. Very delicate. You can also take your finger if you get any blotchies. And all right, so now let's do the ivory. Can you add, I don't know what that says, Tom. All right, let's try the ivory here.
Can you add the color before the embossing?
You add the color before the embossing. I wouldn't on this particular technique. I feel like you're going to end up getting ink on areas on that embossing folder that it's not going to be easy to clean it up. And I feel like this order tends to work a little bit better. Okay, so now you can definitely see the difference in the color on the dauber.
What about detail brushes?
Yeah, I mean, if you use detail brushes, they do have a nice flat top. So you might have a little more luck with the detail brush. The one thing I will tell you, though, is it dries really hard and crusty on the detail brush, and it never thoroughly dries on the dauber. So you can use your daubers like 2 weeks later. You can just grab it and use it. For some reason on the sponge, it stays kind of soft, and on the blending brush, it just dries hard and crusty. So blending brushes seem a little bit pricey for that, and the daubers are pretty cheap, and they're easy to clean, and they're easy to take care of. I don't even clean my daubers. Okay, so now here I'm using the ivory. So you can see what I mean. Let me get my finger in here and just smooth that out a little bit. You can see what I mean. It just has a little bit of a different look, like a little softer maybe, but not like orangey. And it could be the color that I'm putting it up against because, you know, blue in general in the graphic design world, you know, it's going to cancel out a little bit of that. So maybe if you were doing this on a red or a warmer tone, more of the warm tones would come through. But I do see a difference between them. This looks softer as far as color goes, but it also looks a little bit more vibrant, if that makes sense.
How about embossing ink and then powder?
Yeah, you could definitely do that. You could do embossing ink and then a little bit of like clear powder to add a shine to it, to just the raised areas. But keep in mind that even though I'm using a dauber and I'm being as careful as I can see a light mist of color in there. And so anywhere you put embossing powder, it's going to catch on that too. Not that that's a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. And while we have this out, because I think that's a pretty good distinction between those two, let's do one more different Perfect Pearls color. I want to see how something like, oh my goodness, this purple's really pretty. I have labels on these though that I need like a knife to cut the label. Well, let me use my very thin nail. There we go. My very thin, see, it pays to not have good thick nails because you can just cut right through. Okay, so this is a cool color. This one is called Grape Fizz. So I'm just going to use my finger again. And I'm going to rub a little Grape Fizz on there. And this just makes it look almost like iridescent a little bit. I mean, they all have a little bit of an iridescent look. This is beautiful. I love this. Oh, I bet you guys have like tons of these colors in your collection because you watched a video one day where somebody used them and you bought them, and by the time you got them, you forgot why you bought them because that's what I did. Please tell me I'm not alone. But now you have them, and here's somebody showing you a video, and you don't have to go buy them. You can go get them out of the box that you put them in because you forgot what to do with them. Am I calling anybody out? I'm calling myself out is what I'm doing here. Definitely calling myself out. Okay, and then what did I do with my Swiffer? Here it is. Let's just go ahead and clean that up a little bit.
Question, will you be doing... Oh, sorry.
Isn't that beautiful? Okay, go ahead, Tom. Sorry about that.
Question, will you be doing a video on how to use Master Layout 21?
Yes, and I answered that question in the Facebook group too. I definitely will be doing a dedicated Master Layouts 21 video soon. That's on my schedule to do. Just like I did for all the other ones. I want to do a little bit of blue here and look at the difference between them. Yes, definitely. Every Master Layouts will ultimately have its own video, and I was waiting for Master Layouts 21 to come out before I did a video showing what coordinates with what, because I knew that this one was coming and I knew it coordinated with Master Layouts 2, and so I wanted to get it into the mix. So.
And you don't have to heat set the Perfect Pearls?
No. No, it wouldn't. It really won't do anything, because the Perfect Pearls is a dry powder. It's not like an embossing powder. So, but there you go. There's a little blue and a little purple. So isn't that fun? I love this folder. This folder's so pretty. It just has that perfect little spring delicate flower. And so pretty just as a background. You could put a big white die cut hello or friend or thank you on there. Or you could do it with Perfect Pearls too, something like that. It'll rub off well, I have so much stuff on my hands. If you let it dry and let the pigment ink dry completely, it helps, but it will rub off a little bit, but not like glitter. It's not like glitter. Glitter is insane. And those of us who love glitter, we don't mind, but yeah, I mean, you could put maybe a little hairspray on it to set it, or a little bit of setting spray of some kind. Just make sure you do it from a distance, because you don't want to get it wet or it'll all just look like it disappeared.
I have a word of the day for that blue look.
You do?
Yes.
Oh, should we do it right now then?
Well, it's up to you.
Well, yeah, let's do it, because people are going to be looking at it. I'll hold it up here so that they can see it. All right. Tom's got a word of the day for this blue, so let's do it. Oh, it would be pretty with vellum. It would be beautiful with vellum, for sure. Okay.
Sorry, you were talking. The music was playing,
Oh,
so we lost a little bit of what you said. Anyway, our non-intrusive Dead Space jingle music. Okay, so the word of the day for that, that beautiful look. How about bluminosity?
Bluminosity?
Bluminous.
Oh, it's bluminous.
Bluminous.
Yes, it is.
Bluminosity.
It is bluminous. Yes.
Word of the day.
That's a good word of the day.
Here's a quick other one.
Okay.
What's a good name for a R&B oldies tribute band that can't remember the words?
I don't know.
The Fifth Dementia. All right. I've done enough damage.
You definitely need to go
I'm going back
to
to the dead space
dead
as
space.
you were. Thank you. You've been great.
Okay. Well, now let's move into our next embossing folder. We're going to move into the butterfly one because the butterflies, they are always amazing. And first, I want to show you how pretty the stencil looks by itself. So let me get a piece of white cardstock here. I told you today was going to go a little long, right, Tom?
You did.
Yes. So, we've got just a lot of fun little things to show. And you can see, I want to show them this because they'll be able to see how different the modern look is. Oh, I've got ink on my paper cutter and it's getting everywhere. So if you ever get ink on your paper cutter, you can just take this off and you can clean it. And then you can pop it right back in to place onto your, there we go. Okay, so let's see if I can get a fresh piece here that doesn't have brown ink all over it. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to use my sticky mat for this. I'm going to zoom out a little bit here. So I've got my sticky mat, and let's do some beautiful butterflies. These are labeled A, B, and C. Here's the A. So we're going to start with A. And I'm going to just put it right up here above the 1 inch mark. And I'm just going to line it up so it's straight. And that'll just make it easy for me to line up the rest of them. Okay.
Shannon wants to know if you could use sparkle gel on top.
Oh, sure you can. I would just take, again, I would dip my finger in. And I like using my ring finger for this stuff. I know I'm very inky. Because kind of the same way that beauty gurus tell you to use your ring finger when you're putting eye gel on, it's the finger that has the least amount of strength. So you're not going to push too hard and you're not going to get it down into the cardstock where you don't want it. So hopefully that will help.
And this is available only as a bundle right now, but maybe separately in the future?
Probably in about 5 to 6 months when they come back in stock, we will sell them separately. We haven't decided 100% yet on that, but right now it's such a good deal that if you like them, I would try to get them at this deal. And we're just up in the air about it because we've got 10 more embossing folder bundles coming, and so I don't know if it's worth sometimes going back and bringing the old ones back. Okay, so we're going to do sea glass for this first layer here. And see how I'm going a little bit heavy, and then I'm going to get a little bit lighter as I go out toward the edges of the wings. I'm going to do that again here. And it's okay if you have, you can mask them off so you do each one at a time. I'm not that worried about it. I just want to have a little bit of a heavy hand toward the centers of each butterfly. If I have a little bit of extra ink on the wings because it got on there from the last butterfly, I'm not going to worry about it. But this, I just want to show you the modern look of using the stencils by themselves without the embossing folder. And then we'll run it through the embossing folder and you can see how beautiful it is when it catches all the details. Okay. Make sure we get these little wings that are coming in from the sides. And again, this is another one that would be a great background, but because you can cut the butterflies out separately, you can cut the 3 main butterflies, 3 different sizes out separately, you can use these butterflies as focal images too, which I think a butterfly, you know, if you did a strip across the center and then you had some butterflies going across the center as a main focal image, it would be beautiful. All right, now I'm going to get a little bit of Tranquil Teal because I want to add a little bit of depth using my flat brush, my detail brush. I want to do a little bit, let me get a different one here that's got something else on it. Get a different one. I want to add a little bit of dark detail right in around the body. See how that's nice and dark in there? And I'm starting right on the plastic itself. And I'm just letting the bristles trickle over the edge. So I'm actually accenting where the next layers are going to blend together. Remember when I told you guys when we were talking about how to get smooth blends, not to rush? I'm rushing a little bit, and I don't know why. I have nowhere to be, and you got to ask yourself sometimes, like when you're in your craft room, why am I in a hurry? Like, I have nowhere to be. I'm just trying to relax and enjoy my crafting. So slow your roll a little bit and you'll get better blending for sure.
Slow your breathing.
Slow your breathing, yeah. It's true, Tom. It's true. That's like the hardest thing. You know, when you're anxious about something and somebody says, just try to breathe. Kind of want to punch them. But the breathing really does help. Not you, hun. I never want to punch you. Love you. It's all good.
Don't lie.
I rarely want to punch you. No, I would never. But you know what I mean when somebody says, oh, take a deep breath. It's like, not right now.
It's all right. I can take a punch.
Okay, I'm not doing anything to this one because it doesn't have a body there. People unsubscribing as we go. All right, let's take a look at that. Oh, look how pretty they are. They're so fluttery. All right, now we're going to use the next layer here. Oh, I forgot. This layer, I'll do C at the end. Here's B. You can see the B up there at the top corner. Let's get it in the light. There we go. You see that B? We're going to pop that in here. Let's take our time. And now for this one, I'm going to do... And again, remember, these are set up for embossing folders. So there's highs and lows in the embossing folders, which is why they don't always match up perfectly when you're just doing them on paper. So you can always move them around. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get these top ones first, and I'm going to use some purples on these. So let's go with go with the lilacs. We'll go with the light lilac. Very hot color. And I'm using a smaller brush. I'm just going to like line these up on each butterfly.
People have told me I have a very striking face.
Oh no.
One lady asked me how many times I was struck there.
Oh, Tom. All right. So this one is lining up pretty good, other than the fact that I have a hair in there. Why is there a hair? All right, we're leaving the hair. I don't know why there's a hair in there. I'm gonna have a hair mark. Oh, it's a plastic fiber. So let's just get that out. If you ever have a plastic fiber, just take your tweezers and remove it. You can see it right there. But look how pretty this is. And this is just a modern look here. I love the light lilac. And then we're going to see what it looks like when we do it with the embossing. And you'll see a big difference, but also both looks are really cool. Get this one in here. I'm doing the wax on, wax off here, and then I'm getting a little bit lighter as I go toward the edge.
Always makes me want to sing the clapper song.
Wax on, clap on, clap off. Remember the clapper? Did you ever have a clapper, Tom?
I don't think we ever had a clapper.
No, we didn't have a clapper either.
It's kind of sad.
Yeah.
But no, actually, it's fine.
It's a good idea, though. I mean, how many times have you gotten all cozy in, like comfortable, and you're like, oh, that light. You got to get out and go fix the light. Not often. Doesn't happen much to you.
It doesn't. And then you have to wake people up.
Yeah, it's true. Clapping makes noise. Okay, so there's the second layer. Isn't this gorgeous, this stencil? And then the third layer is actually the outside. So I'm going to do a little bit of green, but I'm going to be really gentle about it. And I'm just going to bring it in a little bit so that turquoise turns just a little bit green on the inside. So I'm going to use apple mint, which is one of my favorite greens that doesn't get enough love. So we'll use a little bit of apple mint. And I had an apple mint brush, but not a detail brush. So I want to do an apple mint detail brush here. And then I'm just going to go around the outside. And I'm not even going to go into the purple. I'm just going to go around the outside where the turquoise is. I'm not going all the way in. Because I don't want to mix green and purple. Now, if I wanted to go all the way in, I would pick a color that would not turn brown when I mixed it with purple, or when I mixed it with whatever color. So if I wanted to do the apple mint, instead of doing the purple, I probably would have done something more like a yellow, because yellow will mix with blue and yellow will mix with green. But purple and green are not going to blend well together. They're too far apart on the color wheel. And if you've ever watched any of my videos where, look at how pretty that is, though. It's so glowy. If you've ever watched any of my videos where I talk about the kind of the Gina K color wheel, because I'm not a skilled college artist educated person, but I do know what colors blend together of the Gina K line and what looks good and what doesn't. So I've done some videos on that, telling you what colors look really nice together to blend, and you can check that out.
Okay, listen to this. I think Leela here is on to something.
Okay.
She said, I dislike when you lose something and people trying to help say, where did you last have it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's true. The person is trying to be helpful, but has that ever been helpful?
No.
Oh.
No, if I remember where I had it last, I'd know where it is, right? Yeah.
But do people just forget to go there?
Well, maybe. Maybe it helps somebody. I don't know.
Okay.
Am I being judgmental?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Sometimes you just keep your mouth shut, right? Don't
Yeah, well,
try to help.
growing up, my dad was not very helpful with stuff like that. I remember one time when I was doing my homework, and I just said to my dad, I was doing geography homework, and I said to my dad, Dad, where are the Himalayas? And he said to me, put things away and you'll know where they are. So that's the kind of help I got growing up, so I didn't...
You've been booed.
I've been booed. Come on.
No, that was good. That was funny. That was cute.
Oh my gosh. All right. So just adding that little bit of apple mint. Look at how pretty that is.
Whoa.
Isn't that just a beautiful combination? And then that could easily be, you could add like bodies on here. Here's how I would add bodies. I would take something like this. We're not going to get cards made today. We're just having fun with techniques. I would take our glue, some of our Connect glue here, and I would just put a dot right in the center of each of these butterflies, because you know I can't make a card unless it has black, right? And I would take our black iridescent dots. And
Oh, that is amazing.
I would put one right in the center of each of these butterflies. I'd use the big ones for the big butterflies. And you could do other dots too. I mean, you could go like up with the other parts of the body. You could create a whole body. But isn't that fun?
Some of our viewers may not know that your father was a comedian, right?
Yes, he was a comedian.
He was a comedian. So
Stand-up comedian.
he
was funny.
Everything was kind of like in play.
Yes.
That reminds me, who made the first light?
Can I say it?
Yes.
Budweiser.
Yay! Gina, that looks amazing.
Yeah, isn't that pretty? That's so pretty. So I'm gonna make. I know, right? It's a game changer.
And the
with
black dots go down into infinity from the light.
They do.
They
do.
down.
And then they sparkle too. So imagine, I had this cut down with like Master Layouts 1 or Master Layouts 2, and then I had my black little layer on the background, and then a big black scripty hello, or a very elegant little graceful greeting on there. I do have graceful greetings actually close by here. You could have just graceful greetings, a little happy birthday to you sentiment right in there. Such a simple card, right? And this is without the embossing folder. So let's get the embossing folder into the mix. Let's do one with the embossing folder, and then we can look at them side by side, okay? But I had to show you that because that's so pretty. Now, I could have continued. This is another thing you could do. I could have continued this outer line, this one right here, Let me put my glasses back on. So if you want, you could take this line here and where it goes into purple, let's just do a tiny bit. I know it's always scary, like I'm gonna mess it up in some way, but you could take a tiny little bit of powder blue or blue sky, right? And you could just finish off this part with a little bit of blue so that it continues. But you see how that will continue in there? You can finish it off, but the blue and the purple are going to go well together. So you don't have to stop just at the edges of the wings where the turquoise is. You could go all the way through with a blue color so that that purple has something nice to blend into. All right, so I'm going to put this one away for a second. And I am going to clean these stencils because maybe we could do a different color combination, something bright like maybe some pinks and oranges and yellows when we do the butterflies after we emboss them. But we've got to see it both ways.
Can we do one more of your dad's jokes?
Yeah.
Okay, he said to his daughter, I have 3 apples, they take away 2 apples, what's the difference? And my daughter said,
That's how I feel. What's the difference?
yeah.
Yeah, my dad, God rest his soul. He was so funny. Just a funny guy. Funny to live with a comedian as a kid. Because, first of all, nothing's sacred. Everything is a little bit of a joke. But, you know, super fun. Super fun. I was very blessed with my dad. Okay, so now let's get that die cutting machine again. That's what it's like living with teenagers. And let me find the embossing folder for this. And remember, now today I'm just showing you the actual, oh, look at this. You can even cut out the little thingies. Isn't that cool? So you could do these in black cardstock, which is so cool. So I'm going to pull this whole thing off. And we're going to put this into the folder. So this is just our white layering weight cardstock. And again, you know, if I don't have any of my thicker cardstock here, I don't know why. I'm missing a few things here in the craft room, Tom. I need a restock.
Okay, wait, might be the perfect time to ask this question from Catherine. After blending, when I put it in the embossing folder, it sometimes shifts and ruins it. How can you avoid that?
So I never blend first because it won't line up. It just won't line up. I always emboss first and then do the blending, because then you can shift the stencil around to make it perfect. Remember, some butterflies are higher than others, so they might be spread out just a little bit differently. So always emboss first. You're going to save yourself so much grief. I have this really tight.
And then what were the black dots?
The black dots are our iridescent black dots. That's what they're called, iridescent black dots. All right, let's take a look at this one now. Oh, look at that gorgeous deep. This is the back. Look at the front. Look at that. Isn't that stunning? Oh, that's beautiful. Woo! I love these. Oh, okay. Now, let's get the this back again. So with your sticky mat, this is always a debate in our Facebook group. Sticky mat, not the grippy mat, the sticky mat. Only clean it with water and your tidy towel. If you clean it with any other chemical, stamp cleaner, alcohol, even soap, you're going to take the sticky off. It is a consumable item, but it'll last for a long time if you take care of it and if you store it with that little plastic sheet on top to keep dust off of it. All right, so now Let's start with stencil A. Make sure it's okay. So I'm going to do one of these at a time so that I can shift them around just a little bit. So I'm going to start with, it lines up pretty well. See, it just lines up differently on the embossing sometimes, like better than just each layer. I don't know. That's what I find. Okay, so colors. Let's do, should we do Petunia? Petunia is so bright and fun. Here's the difference between Petunia and Passionate Pink. Passionate Pink has a little bit more blue in it. This is a truer hot pink. So let's go with Petunia. It's so beautiful. Or we could go a little softer if you want, and we could do Dusty Rose. We don't give Petunia enough love. It's a new color for us, so we should do it. And then let's do Sweet Mango. And let's do, we could do a purple, but here's the thing, you can't blend the purple with the orange. If we do a yellow, you can blend yellow with pink. So let's go with Marigold, because that's going to give us an orangey yellow, and this will be a bright, like almost candy butterflies. No, I never stencil and then emboss. I always emboss first and then stencil. Okay, so let's do this color. Let's do this one with the Petunia. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, and I need a bright pink brush, so here's one. So I'm going to use a big blending brush here. And we're going to go ahead and, again, starting a little heavier in the center. Oh, this color. That is gorgeous. And we'll go lighter as we get to the outside of the wings. Look at the detail. I love the way it grabs the detail. Do this one too. And I always just check. I look at it, make sure that nothing shifted weird. You can always move the stencil, so don't worry. Don't be frustrated and feel like, oh, I have the stencil in place. So if it's not matching up perfectly, then I'm just doomed to not have it match up. You can move it. Sometimes you just need to a little bit.
And a question from Anita, is there a die for the butterflies embossing folder?
Yes, the butterflies comes with this die set. So it cuts the butterflies out and it cuts the little antennas out as well.
And Diana wants to know, any hints on the upcoming embossing bundles, florals, backgrounds, or something else? Or you can't reveal?
I don't know what that means, Tom.
The upcoming embossing bundles, do you have other ones coming?
We have, yeah, no, they're going to be coming out more toward the end of the summer, and they will be geared more toward the holidays and fall. We have more coming all summer, though, so stay tuned. I have the most fun one coming this summer, and it's not flowers, and it's not butterflies, and it's so fun. I can't wait to show it to you. But yeah, it has to be a surprise. We got to keep some things a surprise. Okay. Oh, that is so gorgeous. And see how different? Because we've got the embossing in there. We've got that fun detail.
Is it okay that you missed one on the upper right?
No, it's not okay. It's not okay. How did I miss that? Thank you.
And let's see, Carrie is a little curious about how you might show, could you show how you would make focal images with this set, or describe it?
I could describe it for sure. So, and I'll do one because I want to show you the technique. I'll make one for you, okay? And it will work across the board with any of our embossing folder bundles. So stay tuned for that next. Okay, so now I'm going to line these up here. Looks pretty good. And I think I'm going to do, and I'll shift these around as needed. I'm going to do the orange in here. And I'm going to do it with a detail brush, I think. I think a detail brush would work really well. So I'm going to start heavy in the center. And, you know, with all this detail, don't be afraid to leave some white too. So you see how I'm like going heavy on the orange here and then just almost fading up to white? Look at how pretty that looks.
Wow.
Isn't that gorgeous? So don't be afraid of that.
So Gina, musicians can really skilled jazz musicians can like play notes next to each other or together that normally wouldn't sound right together.
Yes.
Do you think you can do that with colors?
Well, you can. You just have to be careful, like butting colors up against each other. As long as you don't overlap too much, you won't get brown.
No, I'm not talking about blending or overlapping. I'm just talking about like colors.
Oh,
right
that don't look good together and turn them into a card?
Right next to each other.
Oh, yeah. I did a video one time where, and I can't remember, it was like, probably more than a decade ago, where it was like, it was back when we had Stamp TV, and I think I had asked people to send in like what you would consider your most hideous color combinations, and I'm going to try to make a card out of it. And absolutely you can. Yeah. It's actually fun, and it's a fun challenge for yourself too. And I've had people say, I would have never thought to put those two colors together, but they actually turned out looking really, really nice. So yeah, you definitely can. And a lot of our viewers and chatters here, they do stuff like that all the time. You guys totally blow me away what you post in our Facebook group and stuff. Sometimes the color combinations are like, wow. I don't think I would have thought of that, but look at that, guys. Look at that.
Wow.
Isn't that fun? So yeah, you definitely can do that. I think that's what makes it interesting. Sometimes pulling colors together that don't normally go together. Like one of the color combinations that most people think in their brain, at least I always did, maybe I'm different, but I always thought, you know, when you're using warm tones, use warm tones with warm tones and use cool tones with cool tones. But one of the color combinations that I am so jazzed about lately is tan and gray. And it was even a thing, like back when I was a kid, you would never wear tan shoes with a gray suit. But now they're mixing tans and grays, and it looks so good. So, you know, sometimes you just got to challenge yourself and go outside of what feels like the box, you know, and just do something a little different. All right, so now for this one, we're going to go around the outside with some marigold. So I am going to move this around, just make sure it's fitting properly. And so you can do this because this won't be a problem, because it'll blend with pink to make an orangey pink, and it'll blend with orange. So if you get some orange in there, it's not going to be a problem. It'll probably just make their little edges glow a bit. Marigold's a beautiful yellow. It's got all that same vibrance that wild dandelion has, but it's like brighter in some ways, and it has a little orangey undertone. Kind of like marigold flowers. Okay, let's see what's happening here. See how they look like they're glowing a little bit more now? These are beautiful. And I say that not patting myself on the back because I had nothing to do with this design. Which is maybe why I love these so much, because they're so, you know, this stuff like in my kits I love, but I sit with it for so many weeks prior to it being released. With these, I pop them out of the package and they're like so new and fresh to me. They feel probably the same way they feel for you guys, and it just, all these ideas just flood in because I'm not like kind of sick of them. I was going to do all of this like last night, but I got home late and I was so tired, and I thought it'll be fun to do this together and just like try the different things and see. So this is the first time I'm using any of these except the first one that we used. I did run it through a couple times with the ink to make sure that I knew what I was doing, because I didn't want to like do the wrong thing and tell you the wrong thing to do.
Carol wants to know, would you cut the butterfly dies apart before using them?
You know, I don't. I'm not going to lose them, right? Oh, look at how pretty that is, Tom. Look at the glow. Now, what you can do with these is, I mean, you can just bend them apart. You might want to with these. Normally I don't, because I usually am just cutting them out with white, but with these you definitely can bend them apart. Now you can cut these bodies out and you can pop them up. So I would cut them with black cardstock and just pop them up onto here. But I also love the way it looks just like this. And with this one, we can do something similar. We can pick a different dot. We can use these iridescent dots that don't have the black. Let's just pop one in place here and see how it looks. Like this one, which is that red. Like that will be so pretty when the light hits it. So let's just put a few of those on. Also, the black would look spectacular. Do you guys want to see it with the black? Let's put a black one on there. I feel like the black is to die for. Oh no. I don't want to stick that to. You like the black, Tom?
Well, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a contrast. And
I do too. It just makes the colors pop more. So I'm going to use the black. You can also use black pearls or black sequins or anything else that you want. But I'm just going to put some of these on here so we can kind of compare apples to apples. Even though the colors are different, I do just want to show you the way they look. I'm going to take it off here though, because I'm going to bend it and then all the things could fly off if they're not completely dry. So I'm using a little bit of a bigger dot of glue because it's got to kind of go, you know, up high. But remember, I'm using the Connect matte glue, so even if it squeezes out around the dot, I'm not worried about it, because once it dries, it's going to dry completely clear. You're not going to see it at all.
Seems like this would look neat with, instead of white in the background, you did your cloud background, but just really light.
Yeah, you'd have to...
Very light.
You'd have to really kind of work around the butterflies so you don't get the color on the butterflies.
Oh,
but
my.
You could do it, but it would be a little bit tougher. Okay, I do like the black. Now we could cut the bodies, and so I'll show you that as a focal image. Or I could show you with a flower, either one. I don't even know if I'll get to the flowers today. But like, look. So,
wow.
With all the details, modern with no details. Two fun ways to use them. Isn't that fun? I love it.
It's very relaxing.
It
Just
is.
looking at it.
Yeah.
And they're flat black, right? The sequins are black, like flat.
They're completely flat.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could mail these with no problem at all. The pearls are raised, so those you might need a little extra postage. Okay, I'm going to put these aside. And then I'm going to show you how to do a focal image. Okay, so yes, we could break these apart. And Memory Box, their dies are like this, so you can either poke them apart if you want, or clip them apart if you have a little wire cutter. And let me get the die cutting machine. So we're going to set this back to die cut. And I need to get my other plate, and we're going to cut a white butterfly. So here's a piece of cardstock that does have a decorative edge, but it was one that was close by. Let me get my cutting plate. So let's cut one of these. And so now we're going to find the matching butterfly to this design. So that would fit on that one. Also looks like it would fit there. I think they're slightly different, but I'm not sure. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to pop this in. Yeah, this one looks just slightly different. See, one of them has a lacy bottom and one of them has a plain bottom, and the cut of the butterfly is so slightly different, but it is different. That's why there's two that look the same. So we're using the recessed side, so when you feel it like sinks down in, and we're going to put the butterfly into the folder and then close it onto the right spot. Okay? And then we have to have our die cutting machine set back to emboss, and I really don't need it quite so tight. All right, so I'm going to send this through. All right. And now you can see that butterfly is completely embossed. And then we'll take one of these bodies and we'll get a small piece of black cardstock. Is this black cardstock? It is. That was lucky. And I'm going to go ahead and put that back on die cut. And we're going to cut out one of these little bodies. For the intracut, I have it set to 2D embossing. And then I had this one set to -2, but I probably didn't need it to be that tight. It could have gone to -1, and it probably would have been just fine. Just don't force it. If you're forcing it, that's a problem. Okay, so you can see that's so cute and delicate. So there's the little body, and that's going to go onto this butterfly. Now, you could always cut a bunch of these. Look how pretty that is. You could always cut a bunch of these, and you can glue them right onto your butterflies that you stenciled if you want. And they're flat, so they're going to lay on there kind of flat. But you can see what that looks like. It's very, very delicate. Okay. So then, and you do this with flowers too. Exactly what I'm doing here with the butterflies, you would do with flowers. So I like to use a sticky mat for this, and I just pop down the image onto my sticky mat. And then I find the butterfly based on which one I cut. And you'll know which one you cut because you'll know where you embossed it on the folder. So I used this one with the little lacy bottoms here, where this one doesn't have those. All right. And then I'm going to pop that right right in there. I'm going to use the same color combination. I've got these blending brushes right here. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that same color combination. I didn't even have to re-ink that brush because I've got so much ink sitting on top of my embossing folder that I could just grab it. So there. And then we know it's this bottom orange one. So we're going to find that orange. Do need to get a little bit of sweet mango here. Okay. And again, I'm going like heavy in the center and then just working my way out so that it's very, very pale. And then we'll add the yellow around the perimeter. Or if you want, you can leave off that layer and just have it white around the perimeter, which is very lacy and very pretty. And if you were putting it up against, and I don't think this looks great, but if you were putting it up against something like this, it would really stand out because of the white, right? So I feel like having a butterfly up against this background embossing folder would be so gorgeous, and then just a greeting kind of just draped across one of the wings. But we can go ahead and we can add that yellow as well. Now, the cuts, the die cuts are not much, but they're smaller than the stencils, and that's so that you can really go around the entire perimeter and get all those parts colored in. Just picking up color off the stencil rather than opening the ink pad again. Okay. And then you would take that and you would add a little bit of your Connect glue in the center. And then I like to use my jewel picker, my pick and stick tool, to pick these up. I feel like I have a little bit more control over it. Sometimes I have glue on the end, but if you can put it like right on there, and then I always take like the stick end and just press it down. You can move it around a little bit with the stick end. If you're using the Connect mat, you don't have to worry if you got any kind of shine on there. You don't have to worry about it. But there's your focal image. So that's how easy it is to create a focal image. And that could go on your card. Let's say you wanted one of these to be popped up in the center. You could pop it up with some foam squares and then add your greeting, and that would kind of give you some more dimension on that card. And this one would be different because it actually has the antennas. Antenna? What is it, Tom? English major?
Antennae.
Antennae.
Plural, right?
Yes, 2 of them. 2 right there. So that is that. Now, we've already been on for almost 2 hours, so I'm not going to do anything with the third embossing folder because it is a gorgeous floral design, and you've seen me use other floral designs. But this, the same way, you can stencil the different layers without mixing them with the embossing folder, or you can do the embossing folder and get all of that beautiful detail. I'm hoping we still have some of these left on Tuesday night because I'd love to explore this folder with you guys then. I hate to frustrate people when something sells out and people are, bummed out about it, but I will make some cards with it and post the cards either way. This way you'll have ideas, even if I don't do a full-blown video on it. I think the most important thing is understanding how the embossing folders work, how the die cut pieces work, and how easy you could create focal images, how to do that wood graining in the background, adding the white pigment ink or the ivory pigment ink. So much fun. Now, we're going to give away that bundle all right, to one lucky viewer. And then hopefully I'll get a couple cards made. I might get them made over the weekend. We'll see. We've got a few things going this weekend, but I will definitely get some cards made with these because I do feel like we should bring these back in stock. Look at that. When you just bend them a little bit too, like that, it just gives it even more dimension. And then you can put some foam squares under there. Oh, I love it. I love it so much. So we did some differences between the ink blending. We did the focal image. We did a little bit of perfect pearls. We did some wood graining in the background. And of course, I did perfect pearls over my white and ivory pigment ink, but you guys remember that. So, and this video will stay up on the channel so you can always watch it again and again to refer to it. Boy, I look like I've been through a wind tunnel. That was a lot, almost 2 hours of crafting. So Tom.
All those butterflies flying around.
All those butterflies, they just messed up my hair, right? All right, Tom, come on in. Now, before we give away this bundle, and remember, if you purchase the bundle, don't worry, we'll give you a credit back. We will refund you for the bundle part. But before we do that, if you like today's video, and I sure hope that you have, if you wouldn't mind giving it a thumbs up, and also if you're new here, hit the subscribe button and all notifications so you never miss another video. And then join us over in our Facebook group, because I know as people start getting these bundles, you're going to see lots of great color combinations and beautiful card projects featuring this bundle over there. Our Facebook group is called Gina K Designs and Stamp TV Friends. And a big shout out to Brianne Loveland today. Thank you, Brianne, for linking everything for us and helping us find all of the colors and this bundle and everything else that I used today. But if you missed any of that, you can find the bundle on our website at ginakdesigns.com. All right, Tom, let's give the bundle away. I got it right here. I'm going to walk it right down to customer service with the name of the person who wins.
Drum roll! Here we go. Today's winner is Linda Gorman. Linda!
Yay, Linda! Congratulations, Linda. You are our winner. Linda, all you have to do is send your name and email address to info@ginakdesigns.com and we will get the bundle out to you. If you already ordered it, we will give you a refund on your account. Well, we'll actually give you a refund. It'll go right back to your credit card payment, and that bundle will ship to you in the order that it was received. All right, everybody, thank you so much for being here today. We had so much fun with you. I hope that you love this bundle as much as I do. And yeah, this was great. Now, I got to tell you, tomorrow I'm going to be going live with Simon Says Stamp, and we're going to dual broadcast on both of our YouTube channels. So you can either head over to Simon Says Stamp's YouTube channel, or you can come right here to my YouTube channel, and you'll be able to find us live with Heidi. And we're going to be playing with ink and stamps and dies and having a great time together. So I hope you will join us for that. We're going to have a lot of fun. And I don't think Heidi and I have clothes that match this time, like the last couple of times, but we'll see what we can do. I'll call her tonight and see what she's going to wear. We'll see. So that's going to be fun. That's going to be an hour earlier than we normally go live. So normally we go live at noon Central Time, but I will be joining Simon Says Stamp at 11 Central Time, noon Eastern. So I'll be sharing that in our Facebook group and on our Facebook page and on my post tab here on YouTube as well. So you won't forget, and you can set a reminder to join us for the fun. All right, everybody, thank you so much for being here. Until tomorrow, stay safe and healthy. We love you all so very much, and we'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye.